Hey everybody and welcome back. Alright, we're going to press on a bit with the frame, but I don't have any of the plate to do this, but I've ordered it, but that won't be here till, actually it's coming in 2 orders what I ordered, so it might be here this afternoon, it might not be here till tomorrow. So there's a couple of little jobs I'm going to do on this, but we're going to leave it on the jig for now. And we're going to get on with, I don't know how much we'll manage, but we're going to get on with things that I've got to order stuff for. So we're going to look at the wheels, because I'm going to have to order spokes and rims. I think the front wheel we can put straight in these forks. Actually it was a Bantam front wheel that I put in the Yamaha 650 forks on the Enfield, and those forks were wider than these, so I'm hoping that I can get away with leaving the hub alone, and that'll make getting spokes a lot easier. But the back hub is a lot narrower than the swinging arm for some reason. I didn't think the cub, well, I guess the cub one was, but anyway, for that, if I'm going to extend the hub, I can't just get standard spokes, so I want to get those wheels taken apart and measurements made so we can do that. And also we'll do some of the repairs on the engine cases and that thing on the cylinder head. We'll do stuff to carry us along until like the wheels come and what have you. Speaking of the engine, I found, I've forgotten the name of the company, but it seems to be like a consolidation company that has lots and lots of members all over the world that have NOS spare parts, and I found through them the largest oversized piston for the Honda NT 650. It's a plus 0.5 millimeter, which will go into this barrel perfectly. So I've been able to order one of those. Of course, they didn't have that particular place didn't have the piston rings, so I had to get them somewhere else. But anyway, all in all, it's coming out at about the same price as buying a B44 piston. So that's not too bad. So if they're ordered, they'll come. What else to do? I haven't decided about the mud guards. I don't know whether to use plastic ones or alloy ones on this. So I don't know about making the loop or whatever. I think I'm going to make a loop rather than just the 2 pieces. I don't know. So I had to order some 3/4 4130 tube for that. So we're sort of in abeyance on a couple of things, but we can work up to them. Alright, so that's what's going to happen with the bike. So, had our first trial this week. Myself on the standard Enfield, Bob on the new BM Enfield, and Chris on the Otter Triumph. So of course Chris won his class. There were modern bikes there. There were 52 riders. I guess there was maybe about 10 modern bikes. And Chris was 7th out of 52 on the Triumph. And I only actually saw him ride in 2 sections. One of them, he came up as I was there and he said, "Oh, I want you to spot me on that rock." So I go over and there's a rock which must have been, well, you can't really see, it must have been at least 2 feet, if not higher. I mean, it was a rock about this big, and it was a rock. It wasn't a step, it was just a big rock. So in other words, he wasn't going up onto it, he actually had to go over it. And he took that Triumph over that, and I watched people on modern bikes who couldn't get over it. And he just went up and over that rock. It's unbelievable. Then in another section, there was quite a deep gully next to where they did the bit of the section. And I noticed that they had it down, a really quick turnaround, and then whoop, straight back up. And I watched him do that. So, it was great. As for Bob, first section we went into, first section, first loop, you went in, you immediately did a really tight right hand turn, and then you went round a tree which they'd ribboned off, so it was really tight round the tree. It was a muddy section. You went across, you did a turn between 2 trees, turned immediately to the right, climbed up on some rocks, went along the rocks, back down, through 2 trees and out. He did the whole thing clean. I mean, I got a feeling there was people there with their jaws open. My mouth was somewhat... He is a good rider, but I didn't expect him to try the whole of that line through the section. Me, I rode all right, but it was the curse of the trials organiser. I felt really sorry for a chap by the name of Dave Derry who put the trial on, because it was one of those cases where I'm sure he was watching the weather forecast. It was beautiful all week. In fact, it was 80 degrees on Friday. Saturday night they had an inch of rain. So when we got there on Sunday, it was just mud, and it's one of those places with really sticky mud, and it was only in the 40s. It was cold. So I only managed 2 loops. Dick only managed 2 loops. Bob went out and did 3 loops, and of course Chris did 4. So he did the whole track. So I think we got maybe 1st, 2nd and 4th place, something like that, in the prehistoric class. So that wasn't too bad. I didn't get 3rd place because Dick beat me by 1 point again. You may remember he beat me by 1 point at the last trial last year. So anyway, that was the weekend. As I've said, the Enfield, the standard one, is really nice to ride, but it is not nice when you get stuck up a slope in the mud and you've got to heave it round and get back down and get up. So I slept like 12 hours. Sunday night I was reading, and 9 o'clock I had to go to sleep. I didn't wake up till 9:15. So there you go, it caught up with it. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. That's what happened at the weekend. So let me move you around and we'll get started. Right, so the first thing I'm going to do while it's still in the jig is I'm going to fill this in, and I'm going to make a couple of little pieces to cap them off and weld them in. Then that'll be done. As I say, I'm going to leave it in the jig and that'll help hold it all in place. And I'll show you something. Right, here's one of the several castings that are on this frame, like this one. So this is for the footrest to go on its taper. You see the yellow colour? That's because it's bronzed on. Well, it's not bronzed on, it's brazed on really. Bit like a plumbing joint. It's heated up, brass rod puts up, and it goes in capillary action. Now that broke loose. I don't know if you can see, but there and here somebody tried to weld it. So we'll cut that, and that one will come off there, and then we'll get the other stuff cut off. But let me get this bit of welding done, and then I think we'll probably take a look at the engine. Tell a lie, we'll take a look at the front wheel. And I didn't mention in the introduction, I didn't take any video because, as I say, it was cold, it was muddy to ride in, but also it kept showering on and off, so I just really didn't feel like having even with my phone, taking video. Sorry about that, we'll try at a later trial. Just thought I'd show you how I'm going to fill these in. It isn't exactly round because it's at an angle, but I find the easiest thing to do if you've got something round like that, rather than trying to cut little pieces of metal, is to get something solid round that's about the same size. So that's about 1/2 inch. And then, this is going to block you off slightly, but you mount it on a magnet and you put that in there like so. Hang on, I'll bring you round. Right, now you can see that there's actually a gap at the bottom and the top. That's because, as I say, we're not at right angles to the line of the tube. So although that would be about 1/2 inch ID across that angle, it's not. Now the only problem you're going to find doing it this way is that the magnetic field from this magnet is going to affect the arc. It's going to try and pull the arc over, so you don't want to sort of try to do a lot here. You just want to get it tacked in, then take the magnet away and tack the other side and what have you. So let me get this one done and then I'll bring you back. Right, so that's those 3 little remedial jobs done. I can't get in quite for that there, so that's got to be just worked a little bit more. Both those are done, and this here is where that big hole was. So that's all done. Now we get on to my least favourite job of all, taking old tyres off. The little job I did while things were cooling down, I've taken that off, and look, there's virtually no brass in there. I mean, it hasn't penetrated at all. There's a little bit here and the same inside there. You see, there's no wonder that slipped. Okay, tyre. Now I'm not going to show you me sweating and cursing for the next half hour. Just a couple of things. Don't do wheels on the floor. You're just making a sort of world of problems for yourself. Always have it up on something. Now really you want something that the rim rests on. A nice metal bin is good. Here I'm not bothered about the spokes, so I've just popped it onto a box. The other thing to do, of course, is to make sure the bead is off all the way around, and use some lubricant, right, just to brush it on to make things come off easily. You can use washing up liquid, whatever you like. Get the valve stem in so that you can get the tyre off. After that, it's mostly brute force. But do remember, taking them off or putting them on, you need to get the edge of the tyre down into the well, because the diameter of the well is a lot less than the diameter of where the bead sits. So in other words, if this was, it's a 19 inch, let's say it was 19 inches from bead to bead, and that tyre's a tight fit on it. At this side you've got to try and get that up a half an inch or so to get it over the edge of the rim. But if you've got a 19 inch tyre sitting on a 19 inch bead, you're fighting the rubber. But down in the well, right, you're half an inch off the bead. It's not half an inch, I'm just making these numbers up. So now, if this side of the tyre drops down half an inch there, this side will come up, will move half an inch in this direction, and there's the depth of your rim, so you can actually get it off. Alright, so you must keep the beads of the tyre down in the well on both sides, and that way you've got enough room to get it off here. Otherwise you're just fighting the rubber. Alright, so let me put some gloves on, otherwise I'll get clarted up to the eyeballs. And this is, I think, the original tyre. It's a Dunlop Trials Universal. So it's probably been on here 50 years. It's certainly well cracked and old. I think these wheels are off a Mountain Cub, which was the last model sold here in the States. Basically my understanding is Edward Turner was here in the States saying, oh, we're gonna stop making the Cub, and who was it? Johnson Motors, who were of course probably the largest buyers of Triumphs in the world from the factory, we're just starting to get into sort of trail bikes for hunters and people like that. And they said, no, what you've got to do is make a Triumph Cub with this bit, that bit, you know, the wheels, the heavier forks, this, that and the other. So the Mountain Cub was born, and most importantly, that model has the much better lubrication system. So anyway, let me get this off, and of course I've still got one for the back to take off as well. I got the tyre off. Wasn't too bad actually, but I couldn't try the wheel with the frame in the jig. There just wasn't enough clearance. So we're going to try it in here. Right, so I've got it chopped up on a box, and let me get the brake plate. So there it is in there, and we're about, oh, in fact, we're all the way in flush here on this side, and we're about 1/4 of an inch short there, and let me just get in front of you there for a moment. That's 1 3/8 on that side. And 1 3/8 on that side. So I am not going to do anything. I'm just going to see if I can get, if I phone Buchanan's, I bet they've got 21 spokes for a 21-inch rim. This is a 19. So if I tell them I'm putting a 21-inch in, they'll send me the right spokes. So all I've got to do now is make our usual measurements and then sort of just record them. So we'll measure the offset. Hang on, I'll walk around the back of you. Very bad manners walking in front. What we'll do is we'll put a straight edge across the... We'll put a straight edge across here and measure from the edge of the rim to the brake drum, not to the brake plate, to the edge of the brake drum, and then we'll know how far offset we are. And we'll do our little drawing to show which way the spokes cross. Here they cross 1, they cross 2, and the inside one goes to the right, and on this side we cross 1, we cross 2, we cross 3, and the inside one goes to the right when looking at the top. So I'll make a couple of little drawings, a couple of measurements. So I'm glad I used the BSA wheels. This side, see this, actually might be, no, it looks like it's a slightly smaller spindle than the one that fits in. I'll go and measure a B44 wheel. I mean, if need be, I can always make another spindle that 1/4 inch longer so it fits into both sides. But that will be fine. That saves a lot of work. Not really much in the way of expense because we've still got to buy the rims, still got to buy the spokes, but at least we don't have to cut that one in half and things like that. Okay, let's have a look at the back one. Now on the other side, I just packed out with a couple of washers. It's about right, and funnily enough, when I give myself what I think will be the clearance for the brake, the wheel's about central. But as you can see here, we are 2 inches in there, because that would normally be pressed up against here. So you can imagine what a very narrow swinging arm the Cub has. So I think I put 1.5 inches in on the other one. So what we'll have to do again, and then of course we're going to have to make a brand new wheel spindle to boot. Alright, so hang on, let me move you around the side. So there's what we've got to now. The front has to come up, a tyre on would come up another good couple of inches. Oh, actually it would come up a long way, let me think, because that's only a 19-inch rim as well, isn't it? So yeah, that's only 10.5 inches. So that would come up 2.5 inches, and that would be up in here somewhere. So the back would lift up around about 1 inch. That's 9 inches. Don't forget we have the little bit of sump that sticks under. But that's 9 inches. The back's going to bring it up to 10. That's going to come up 2.5 inches. So that's going to bring that up at least another inch. So that's 11.5, and then the bit of sump underneath. We're going to get our usual 10 inches of ground clearance, which is fine. After what I saw Chris doing with the Triumph, I don't think ground clearance is an issue if you know what you're doing. Alright, so I might do these bits of bronzing. I might take the wheels out since I've got it off the jig now. I'll do that, and I think I'll cut these last couple of lugs and the centre stand mounts off. Alright, so, and it's time for some scran. Right, so as I say, I'm just doing bits and pieces here. So I've actually got one half of the crankcase in the oven, well, as best as I can fit it in, to get the bearings out. So what I've done is I've made up a couple of little pieces to go on there, just to get it to the right size of that. Then I can do my measurements a little bit easier from that. Oh, look at that. These are the... Oh, hang on. Oh yeah, look. See how the holes go into that? You see that? So the holes actually impinge on that. So you make something the right size to fit in here. So I've got to turn a relief onto them. Okay, let me do that. Alright, so I turned the relief in each of these, and I turned it wider than I needed to be so I could move the wheel a bit. Put the end caps on. This is 1 3/8. It just goes through there. It just goes through there. So I've got that wheel absolutely centered in the forks. Tighten the caps up, and then I can measure what I need in the way of spaces in there to set the wheel right. Now on this side there's a nut to go on it to hold the brake plate on. So for now I won't do that one, but I can make this piece up, and I can make it up so it's wider. I think I'm going to make it so it's wide. You know, this is, can't remember now, I think it's 11, I think it was 11/16. It was just under 3/4. So that piece will be 3/4 in the centre, and I can make it say 7/8 in here and here, because it's going to fit in, and then that way it'll be held in the right place, see, because it'll slide in and it'll be thicker, be a larger diameter here, larger diameter here, and the right diameter through the centre, so I can do all that marking up. Alright, I've got one bearing knocked out. I've got the other crankcase half in the oven, and actually that one fitted in with the cylinder hold down studs taken out, and I'm just flashing red on the battery, and I've already changed the battery over. So it's gone 4 o'clock. I'll just fiddle on and do some more little bits and show you them as and when. Right, so I got all the various lugs and things off, finished doing all the bronzing. Took me all morning to cut things off, grind things off, get everything ready. So what I'm going to do now is cut these plates, because that arrived, and put them on. Then the next thing is doors. So I'll show you what else. I was sort of backwards and forwards between things. As I say, this is bits and pieces to keep us moving along. So I also got various bits bead blasted, cleaned up. All my bearings are here for the crankcases. I got a sealed bearing for the gearbox. So I say I'm going to put these gusset plates on. Then what we'll do is we're going to do the repairs on this. Let me see if I can zoom you in a bit to show you. You can see one even like that. So there you go. That's got to be repaired, and then in here that one and that one have got to be done. So that one actually is even cracked a bit there. I don't know. That's going to be a little bit difficult. What we'll do with these ones actually is, when I've got them done, we'll fasten this down on the mill table. We'll put the chain case on here, and then we'll use the chain case to get the right place for the drill and the tap to go. Take the chain case off, drill it, tap it, chain case back on, find where this one wants to be and get that one done. But with this one, yeah, I suppose I can just about get in there. I think with these I'll completely mill it out and make a new piece to go in and weld the new piece in. Anyway, let me do these gusset plates. Right, so usual thing, as you can see there's a couple of marks on here to guide me along. So there's our cardboard template. We've got to cut it out like that, put a little bend in and then curve this to fit on there, and obviously we'll make an identical one for the other side. Right, so we'll get that done and get that bronzed on, get those cases done. Actually, I didn't mention it, the reason I want to do the cases next is because we're going to fit them in the frame. Hang on. Whoop. We're going to fit them in the frame, so as I say, we can make these, but I need to know where the rear engine mounting is going to be for that. Okay, so let me go and cut some 80 thou plate. Okay, there's our plate. I've put one of those snazzy holes in. This one I've actually put the little bend in because this is bigger. So that is going to go on there like thus. Alright, so let me put a little bend in the other one and make sure I bend it the right way, and then I'll put a couple of clamps on to hold them exactly where I want them and do some tacks and take the clamp off. I'll show you that anyway later on. Right, so what I've done here is I've tacked one side on the other side exactly where I wanted it. Then you see I put a bolt in here as a nice fixed point, and then I've been able to measure from here to here and from here to here on both sides and get them dead level. And also up here, as well as the bend, I've folded it round, a piece of round, just to get it more of a curve there. Okay, so let me tack this side. Alright, so there's that bronzed on there. That doesn't look too bad. Okay, so actually that's it for today. I'll see if I can get some more done on Saturday, and might try and do the crankcase repairs Saturday. So until then, just do whatever you normally do on a Friday. Good morning. It's Saturday morning. Raining a bit, poured down all night, so I'm glad we're not riding this weekend. Okay, we are going to repair this case. I think this is the best thing to do next. So first thing I'm going to do is some machining. Now what I'm going to do, these 1/4 inch holes, is I'm going to put this in the mill, clamp it down flat, and then move things around so you can see. We'll come down and touch off on this surface, come back up very slightly and set the stop. You'll see all this. But what I'm planning to do is mill right down to take all of the broken piece out, and I'm going to mill it just a tiny fraction into there. I'm going to use a 1/2 inch mill, 1/2 inch end mill. And the reason I'm going to do that is we're going to make this out of 1/2 inch, which is what they are, and if I do a little bit into there, that will set where that wants to be, right? So when I've got both of those milled all the way down, I'll cut 2 pieces of this to just bring it slightly proud of that, because then we can mill them flat and I can weld them in. Then, as I say, we'll do that thing with the put the chain case on to be able to find out where the exact hole should be. Then what we're going to do for this is I'm just going to clean all this out with a carbide burr to get it back to clean metal. There's always a problem with welding older cases, they've often got impregnated with oil in the surface and so on, so you've really got to get in to get it clean. Then I'm going to put I guess it's 3/8, a 3/8 inch bolt, stainless steel bolt in there, and just build all this up and take the bolt out, and then we'll turn it over and use that as the guide to drill through. Oh, look at that. See what you don't see when you're in the bead blasting cabinet, but you see them now, so I'll scrape all that out and blast that again. Alright, so let's go and set up on the mill. Right, so here we are on the mill table. Originally, actually, I put the fastening down in here. Then it struck me that, you remember when we put the smaller crankshaft sprocket on to lower all the gearing, the chain catches, because the chain normally, the primary chain normally runs outside this big lip here, this boss, so the smaller one catches on this, so you've got to take just this lip off, and then you actually get this thinner oil seal to go in here. So I've clamped it down this way, so the first thing we'll do is take that off, and then that job's done. Got a 1/2 inch end mill in here, then we'll move over and get it set up the way I mentioned. So let's see what we can do here. Just to there. All right. Alright, there we go. Who needs CNC? Right, that should do fine for that. I don't think we need to take any more than that off. Yeah, I believe that is good. Okay, let's now then move it over. Hang on, let me turn you off while I vacuum these chips up. Alright, vacuum's a bit noisy. Alright, so we're going to come down, move that along there a bit, to touch off on that, and come up very slightly, lock that, and then we will, where's the little button? You can't see what I'm doing here, but I'm just moving the thing up, and there's a little button that allows you to not have to thread it up. Okay, let me show you that. See, I'm moving this stop here. It winds up, but there's a little button on it. You press it and it disengages the thread, so you don't have to Right, well, I just deleted the last little bit of video because although I did the machining perfectly, I still had you pointed up at that bloody thing. So I've moved on, and I didn't realise till I looked at the video. So I've moved on to the next one. So we've got it set for its depth, and now that I think is that going to get it? Yep. Let me just make a mark on this to see if I'm good. Vacuum. Right, that looks pretty good, so let me take it off here and I'll show you what the next stage is. Right, so there you can see it's cut in and it's left a little bit, same here. This is just a piece of 1/2 inch tube because I haven't cut the alloy yet, but that will go in there, and that's why I cut into the wall a little. See, that holds that there. I can put a clamp on that, and now I can get in. As I say, this one's going to be relatively easy to weld all the way around. This other one, let me move it into view. As you can see, I can get down this side and around the bottom. I can stick the tungsten out a bit more. I can get down there. The bottom might be a little difficult, but we will see. Okay, so the next stage is for me to measure the height of here so that I know how big a piece of 1/2 inch solid alloy round to cut. And then I've also, hang on, got to measure the height of this. Now, as you can see, this is pretty damaged at the top, so I'm going to measure to there, and we're going to build it right up to here. We're going to try these cases, bolt these cases together and put them in the frame, so if it's too high I can always put it in and mill a few thou off, but that looks to me to be where the thing rattling in the mountain, that's where it should be. So we'll get this cleaned up even more, and as I say, I will clean all, I think we'll do this bit first. I'll clean this bit out, get it right back to good metal, and then we'll just put our stainless steel 3/8 bolt in there as backing and then I can just build this up and build this all the way up, and then I say we'll drill it from the other side. So let me give this a bit more bead blast and get the carbide burr out. So there we're set up. You can see it's shiny. I've cleaned all that up with the carbide burr. Give it a good washing alcohol. There's my stainless steel bolt to act as some packing, because I say the alloy won't stick to that. It makes it a lot easier to do. I should be able to get it all of that. So I'm going to heat this up with the map torch. I was going to put it in the oven, but I thought no, we'll be fine. I'll just heat it all up with the map torch, and then we'll get some welding done. So that's that all built up around there. I still got to do the top a little bit because it was difficult to get in, and as you can see, that doesn't stick, but it's left. It's still hot. See how good a nice round hole it's left? That makes things a lot easier. So all I've got to do is this little bit around here, and then we'll shape that, mill that flat. This was 1 3/8, that thickness, got to the back. So let me finish this top piece off and shape it up a bit. I just thought while this is still hot, I might as well weld these in. So I've cut this piece. It's, you know, I don't know, maybe 5 thou proud. So that's held in. Again, you can see how nicely it fits in there. Cleaned everything up with the carbide burr again, so this is going to test my welding more than that other one did. You can see, look, the other one's got some nice little bits in it. Anyway, let me try this. Okay, I've done the welding. Some of it was good, some of it wasn't so good, but it'll all work. Alright, so that is the repaired mounting. So all I've got to do now is mill the top down to the right height. There we go. These, you can see, didn't work out as well. Now these are both, this is 670, that's slightly raised there, so that was only 640. But what I'm going to do to obviate, see, what I'm worried about is that if the oil can get in here, particularly that one, in behind this piece, and when it's drilled and tapped, the oil will come out and leak. So what I'm going to do, don't forget there's 3, 5, 7, there's 10 screws holding this case on. So these two, I'm just going to drill 1/2 inch down, right? So they're not going to go through into this space. They'll be dead-ended, so they can't leak. Alright, doesn't matter whether it can get round this thing anyway, doesn't matter. If it gets round inside there, it's still in the chain case, as long as it can't get into this hole. And those two, I mean, it's a 1/4 inch screw going in 1/2 inch worth of thread. It's ample. So it's lunchtime now. I gave this a blow over to see how it blended in. So as I say, we'll put this in the mill. Hang on. Put this in the mill that off. Then we'll just take those flat. Then we'll put the outer cover on and use that to get this. The holes actually aren't going to be in the center. The holes are going to be right near the edge. But this way it's a good solid piece. I could have just put a screw in, there was enough thread, and tried to build it up, but it was, I don't know whether this was just, it was really difficult to clean, let's put it that way. I was still getting black bits in, it was difficult. What I really must get actually is a big, see how much stick out I had to get into there? The number 8 cup, I should have had about a number 12 cup. And then that would have completely flooded the area with argon. It may just be that. So we'll see. But anyway, these are in good and solid. And if I only drill them 1/2 inch, they're not going to leak. So after me, what is it today? I think I'm having a banana sarnie. Very healthy. I'll come back and we'll set up on the mill. Right, so we're ready to put it in the mill now. But I'm going to put it on some parallels because you see this little lip here? And there's a corresponding lip over there. It's to help the the two crankcase halves seat together. I just measured them because, you know, the piece we've done is 1 3/8. But if I was measuring from the bottom, I'd have to take this into account. And it's 105 thou basically over here, but only 100 thou here. So, I mean, it's not much, but what I'm going to do is put it on parallels. Hang on. Here and here, where we don't have the lip, because I know the parallels are exactly 1/2 inch, so I can measure that thing easier from the table of the mill. Alright, well, I've just found something interesting which must be on the earlier B44s. I checked in the parts book that I have, which admittedly is for a square barrel B44, and it says that all of the case screws are 1/4 inch UNC, so later model. This engine, they're 1/4 inch BSF, but also, see, there's 1/4 inch. I have discovered that, funnily enough, the two I've repaired obviously weren't 1/4 inch. Now then, I think it might have something to do with the fact that it looks as if this is the level hole. You take the screw out and you get the level, and this, you see, it doesn't come to the edge. You take that screw out and it drains. So, as we're not doing things as per normal like a standard road bike, what I'm going to do is drill those two out. They're only, when I use a transfer punch, they're only one size smaller than 1/4 inch. They're 15/64ths. See, there's a 16/64th. So they're almost 1/4 inch. Alright, so let me show you what's set up in the mill. Alright, you know, I have 3 1/2 inch rulers and I can never find one when I want one. So that's 15/16 there, 2 inch there, so that's great. We'll be able to take it to 1 7/8. So we're going to mill this off, then we're going to just take that off there and that little bit off there, and then actually I think I'll use a stone or something just to get them absolutely flat. Then we'll put the chain case on and change over to having a drill. Alright, so safety glasses. Let me set up and spring you back. Just had a brainwave. 1 3/4 inch parallel stood on a 1/8 inch parallel equals 1 7/8. And then, oh, I can show you this time, look. We just twiddle this. There's the little button. See the button there? When I press that, I can just push that straight up. Okay. Goes down to the stop. It's locked. I've done it again, haven't I? There you go. hopefully, if I've done that right, one and 7/8. Hi, gone. All right, let me set up to do the others. Right, now I'll set the stop for this. There. And that is about spot on. So let me lower the table. Right, so got the cover on, and I've got, obviously it's on its dowels, I've got 2 screws in, so it's done, and it's nicely down there, so we did that job right. Now what I've got in here actually is the transfer punch, whatever size I said it was, 1/32 underneath 1/4 inch, which fits in there nicely. Now I suppose you could see it from that distance, but so that goes in there like that. We're lined up. I've locked the table down just to be on the safe side. I've set the DRO as well. Now the drill bit, God, I've lost it already. According to, oh, there it is. According to my machinery's handbook, the drill bit for 1/4 BSF is a number 4, which is 209,000. As luck would have it, that will actually go in there. So what I can do is do my drill and do my tapping, and then I can take these out to a 1/4 and not have the danger of running down there too far. Okay, so let me change this over. Well, actually I can take this cover off now. I'm not going to drill through the cover, and I can be sure I only go down 1/2 inch. Alright, so let me change the setup. As I said, everything's locked down. That's right, so we can move it. So first thing is the spot. Next thing is the tapping drill. I'm going to switch on. I guess the battery must have gone in my little up and down DRO. Okay, well we can set that to there. Lock that, and we'll raise the table 1/2 inch. Set that.
And there's that drilled. 500 in there. Oh great, it's still in that thing. Okay, then the next thing we'll do is, hang on, we'll get the tap started. Grip it a little tighter than that. That, send that up out of the way, and then I'll actually I've got to buy a couple of tap handles because the one ratcheting type tap handle that I had just broke. I mean, it just boing. It was gone, snapped right in two, so I guess it wasn't a brilliant one to start with. Right, the battery went there, but you only missed me continuing to tap that. So there's the repair lock. It didn't go right through that, so, and there's our BSF screw going in there. Okay. So let me do the other one, and then we'll do the very last little bit of work on this. Alright, last job. Put our hole through here where we filled it up. So there we go, that's drilled through, that's flat, everything's correct, and that on, put it on its dowel, screw in there, that's it, it's on its dowel over there, so that's exactly right. I haven't got the dowel in here at the moment. That's in there. This is a repaired one. Oh, I haven't done the 1/4 inch hole. Oh, I forgot the 1/4 inch hole. Hang on. You know what? I think those holes were just bunged up. I did this one actually on the mill, so I didn't notice much about it. But that one, as soon as I went with the drill, it just, as if it was taking muck out of it. And voila, there we are. No gap. All done. Hey, I'm pleased with that. In fact, I'll be honest with you, as you all know, I am self-taught. That's the sort of job I would have taken to Dave before. Okay, that's all done. So now we can put the two halves of the crankcases together, put them in the frame, put the head on. Oh, well, the next job, start next week repairing the head. then we can start doing things like putting the barrel and the head on, seeing where the carburetor's going to go, stuff like that. But that excitement is all for next week. So until then, stay safe and enjoy yourselves.